Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday, October 23rd. Wow, we're entering the last week of October. Well, technically, we have a Monday overhang Halloween, but this is the last full week of trading in October. So, how's everybody doing? What are we prepared for? This is a big week. This is a big one. This is a big one. I got the short sleeves. Yep, Patrick in the Midwest. Good afternoon on a beautiful but breezy day. It is beautiful but breezy here also. We've had Friday and Saturday were fantastic. Already got up the holiday lights on the roof line and around the front porch area. No, it is not going on yet. But I did get them up because here, maybe I'll post some photos. I can adjust the LED strands for my holiday lights that at least go on the outside. So I will start doing some purple flashing lights going into some Halloween, then take a break. Then we're going to go into the rest of the holiday season with some changing up of the different LED patterns and everything. Have not decorated, though, the bushes or anything else yet. So, I did use the nice weather to get that started yesterday, probably more than anybody cares about, because everybody's here for the market analysis instead of my charming personality. So glad it's a nice day. Back to Patrick. Earnings. Yes, AB. It is a huge earnings week and backloaded with some financial releases. We will take a look at all that. Vertical Dimension, a.k.a. Amit. Hello. You are welcome for the sector overview. Value versus gross. Nice double on value. Also, remember, I did get a comment. When I first posted, I do record these in HD. When they're first posted, sometimes it takes the YouTube a little longer to process the HD version. So if it's a little too blurry for you or you're waiting for the HD content and it's not coming through in HD, it will be up at some point. It just takes the YouTube. I don't delay the posting in case I forget or get sidetracked, or I'm not doing these premieres where I'm going to sit on the chat and premiere it with everybody because, you know what, I just don't have the time. But I want to get that out there every week for everyone to give them at least, if you are interested in my thoughts. Speaking of thoughts going into this big earnings week, amazing how futures changed around Friday, possible rally in the S&P or the spiders to 390 to 4,000 before rollover. We'll start discussing that. Happy Sunday, Options 22. Again, thank you for all your emails. I am taking many things under advisement for the continued growth of this channel. I do appreciate all the thoughts, all the criticisms, the compliments, things I do right, things you think I do wrong, which, hey, I can do a lot wrong in this. I am first and foremost a technical analyst trader. I am not a professional YouTuber, but I'm working on it. Never thought this would be the career path part of my life would take, being, because Bob's always been the TV guy. I've never been a TV guy. Never. I never even wanted to be a TV guy, but now I'm on this YouTube-y thing. So what does that count for? I don't know. How do you like my MacBook Pro M1 Max chip? Well, I liked it until it died, and they're sending me another one. But I love these, their new chips. I love the new chips. I'm now back on a MacBook running an Intel until I get this other one reset up once I get the new one. And I need to buy another backup one. So that's my thing, but I don't want to buy another notebook that's a backup. So I'm trying to figure out what other, and I want to stay in the Mac realm just because then I can always switch over easily, and I can run my parallels for other apps that I need to run, because there are certain trading apps that only run under, unfortunately, Windows. But I am open to take any suggestions, any and all suggestions. This is why it is a trading community here. Oh, it's, you know what? Computers and me don't, uh, electronics. Let me just make this a broad statement. Again, people are tuning in for market analysis and I'm rambling, but electronics and, do I say electronics and I do not mix? Things that plug in or have powered, you know what? They fry around me for some reason. And we don't need any electric personality jokes or magnetic. We don't need any jokes like that. I already realize. No, I'm just, it's just the way stuff works. If it's anybody out there who wants, I should work for UL Labs or Consumer Reports. Why? Because if you want to know if it's going to break, just send it to me. Just send it to me. If it lasts a month with me, you're probably good to go. If it does not, and it's not because I'm rough on stuff, I'm very gentle on stuff. I mean, my computers look like they're brand new even when they get to 3-4 years old. That's how gentle I am on this stuff. It's just, I don't know. No one watches only a boomer. Well, I guess I'm a Gen Xer, so I have a TV, but it's not hooked up to anything but my streaming services. I don't know. So I appreciate any any recommendations. Excuse me. Allergies for some reason acting up today, but any suggestions on anything to make this channel and our time together better will be taken under advisement. Let's see. I'm a natural YouTuber, created and growing the channel organically, driven by your deep passion to teach and coach. Well, thank you very much. That means a lot to me, Options 22. As and everybody here, yes, I do this to give back. I also, if I can teach this even better and refine my teaching skills live, it helps a lot of people. So there is that selfish sort of motive that I can become a better teacher and especially teach stuff that I maybe somebody else has developed it in parallel with me or don't know that, but I'm trying to teach my sort of take on stuff to help people. All right, that's enough about me. Let's see. We have running 2 servers at the office running off the Max chips and 1 computer used under STL files for ED printing with Ultra chips as fast as vertical. Send me, it's a support email. Send me some ideas. You have to get your Macs. If you have to get your Mac repaired 3 times, you'll get a call from the customer happiness division. Actually, no, because my last one that fried before this last round, I had repaired 5 times. Never got a call from their customer happiness division. Actually, and I complained like crap when I had to keep bringing it in. They're just like, oh. And one time they held it for a week and a half for repairs. I had to call up. You said me 2 days. And they're like, yeah, you know what? So if somebody from Apple wants to reach out to me, great. No, we do not. I do not dim streetlights. I don't have any superpowers. Unfortunately, that would be a cool superpower, though. Let's see if the FANG can jump over the low bar of expectations. What's the email address? Well, it would be support and then pattradingpartners.com. You can always go up to Path Trading Partners and do it there. Let's get into some market stuff. Thank you, everybody, again for here. Wow. Strategy, you're going to... Anybody have an in with Apple? So, let's take a look. Important week. Now, tomorrow, remember we had the Tim Ross article on Friday. And I'm going to once I figured out how to do a YouTube short, I'll probably do a YouTube short on this friggin' pivot thing, because I have a good analogy. So I got to figure that out over the next couple days, but I'm not going to harp on that right now. That was the big thing on Friday. Yes, they are. We've already known. Remember in late spring after that, they went 75 basis points, and then people were even arguing, are they going to do a second 75? And then we've had what? 375s, and we're going to have a 75 in November? And people are all like, oh, they're going to go back to possible 50. That's not a pivot. Okay, we were arguing, the big thing before was, are they going to do back-to-back 75s? And now they're doing a 75 through November, and the pivot is they're going back to 50? Get the hell out. All right, so that's not a pivot. It's a change of pace. Tomorrow, Chicago Fed National Activity Index, only going to see if that's a contraction. Composite PMIs and manufacturing PMIs, remember those are like the more small to medium companies, going to see if they're a contraction. Minor though, it's minor. And then the services PMI flash is forecast in contraction. So we got some minor stuff hour before and then 15 minutes after the open. But minor. 25th, Tuesday. Consumer confidence, I know it's rated as high. Compared to earnings, yeah, unless this is really big number differing from forecast, I'm not seeing it having a earth-shattering reaction. Unless it's a huge miss or beat. And I think a beat will just be, let's throw some extra gas on the rally. A miss, if it's a big miss, well, then is that okay? Well, the Fed's going to slow the pace, and now we could drop to a 25 basis hike in December? Because they're not going to change November. That was pretty much guaranteed by the article. So that's why it's a little Then Fed manufacturing, just watch for if it goes into contraction. Wednesday, you got building permits and you got retail inventories, minor. Wednesday's very minor. You got your crude numbers. Wednesday's probably the most minor day of the week. Thursday gets a little more interesting. GDP growth, durable goods, before the market's 1 hour. Jobless claims, remember, jobless claims for initial and continuing, unless there's something, a huge miss, not going to be a big deal. GDP growth, this should come in pretty decent. And remember, this is the advanced numbers for Q3, but this should come in pretty decent. I would not even be surprised to see this as above forecast based off the Atlanta Fed models, which I think are still running around 2.9%. So I would not be surprised to see this as a beat. Now, does a beat mean... What does that mean? See, I don't know what a beat means anymore. Because, all right, are we like, hey, we beat. Fed's got to be more aggressive, but they just said they could be slowing pace. What does it all mean? I don't know. I just think this is not going to be as big a deal. Because, and this is going to, everybody now, for the people who said it was back-to-back quarters of negative GDP growth, what does this mean? Is the recession that you said we were in now over? Is it taking a breather? Has it pivoted? I don't know. Not smart enough to figure that out. Kansas City Fed, just want to see if this is in contraction or not. Friday's the bigger day. Why? PCE Friday, that's the Fed's preferred metric. Is it going to come in hotter or cooler than expected? So Friday, also, we have I'm going to get to earnings in a second. We have Amazon and Apple out the night before. Then we go into Friday, and we hit the PCE numbers. And we have consumer sentiment following up. So PCE an hour before the open and 30 minutes after the final consumer sentiment for October. So Friday's the bigger day. And you got some earnings from the energies, the Exxons. In case you needed, in case you forgot, with your 1 day off from the markets, Friday was strong. Friday was strong. Besides, unless you were a Meta, I still got to call it Facebook. Can we just? Why did they change it? Or what the hell's a metaverse, anyways? Verizon. Verizon, is this a pair trade? Verizon, AT&T. AT&T had a little better earnings. I've gave my thoughts on communications also in the weekly sector overview. Oil also strong on Friday's sector. I should have shown this on the sector overview, but for the week of last week, you see energy was the big one, and energy still never shifted from bull mode. I like the long-term, medium to long-term stuff I follow. That's why I share it with everybody, because I think it's good. But look at the energy sector, and then you get a lot of other things bouncing back. I watched the sector overview, but healthcare, I'm looking. We got some doubles that have triggered. So those are some sectors to key in on. Friday, very strong across the board. I'm staying away, even with a bounce in real estate. I'm running the other direction. FOMC still 95% for the 75 basis point. I doubt this is going to change. It was pretty much confirmed with the article. I doubt they're going to make a massive change, even with the CPI numbers for November. Now, remember, it's after the CPI. Next CPI numbers don't come out till November 10th. And we got the Fed hike on the 2nd. So that's not this Wednesday. It's the following Wednesday after Mr. Spooky Day. We're going to have to see an update on this to see tomorrow where we sit with negative gamma. We should still be in negative gamma of some sort or another. But we had a pretty decent option expiration on Friday. I also put out on my personal Twitter feed, and I thought this going into Friday, and a number of other people have now commented, and it seems like it's been confirmed that the release of the article, again, the Wall Street Journal article for anybody new, Nick Timiraos is the Fed whisperer. Supposedly he's got that when the Fed wants to leak out stuff, because remember, they're in quiet period now, up through the Fed meeting, quiet period. So they can't talk. No Fed speakies going on. But they sort of laid out their framework for November, and then how it could change. See, I almost used the pivot word, but it's not. I've been hearing it so much from everybody. So then we had that. Now, where was I going with all that? Now I forgot. Fear and greed back to neutral. Now, on this continued rally, we're already to neutral, and we're not that far off the lows. Does that mean we have to top? The other thing I did touch on in sector overview is I spend a lot of time feeling out and talking to people. Literally about 95% of the feedback I get it's guaranteed. I alluded to this in sector overview too. It's guaranteed through the end of the year, bull market. Bullish sentiment, bull market, whatever you want to call it. Short-term bull bounce, whatever. Some people say the lows are in. Do not think so. Systems don't say it. Bull market, done. It's the no-brainer trade. It's even been reinforced. That gives me a pause. Why does it give me a pause? Not that I'm not going with the trend is up. We got some doubles triggering in some sectors. We could rally up closer to neutral. Would love this to get into greed before the next rollover. That gives a great way to set up with some new shorts. However, when it's like everybody's running to one side of the boat to look over the railing, you gotta be, this is not the area you go to sleep and just try to wake up on January 2nd and say, hey, let me bank my profits. Yeah, it's that sentiment is getting, when I'm looking around, the bears are bullish and the bulls are bullish. I'm looking around and say, who's bearish? Who is bearish? Well, I'm not finding many bearish. That is a point to consider. So, does that mean you just magically tip bearish and just magically put on your shorts? No. But I will be paying closer attention to bearish signs. Current market valuation still and fairly valued, edging up still. Now, this is interesting. Yield curve is, again, still overvalued. Buffett indicator, still, it's still way above neutral. PE ratio is just dropping below that one standard deviation. By the way, earnings, I also talked about this. Speaking of earnings, we'll go over this in a second. But we finally, so far with what's been released, again, we've only had 1 week of earnings. This is going to be a big week, but we've actually have earnings contraction for the first time in many quarters. Earnings contraction. Will the earnings contraction continue? Now remember, a lot of the earnings releases have been talked back. I'll get to comments in a minute. Oh, I see Waka Waka's in the house. I'll get to comments in a second. Earnings expectations are been dialed back. It takes a pretty big beat, though, to really make a huge gap difference. And pay more attention. Since the expectations have been dialed back, even with a beat, fine. We can continue in rally mode. But pay attention to guidance. Guidance is going to be very, very key. Especially if a company says, guess what? There's not going to be guidance. That's not a good sign. Not good. All right. Let me get to some comments first. Now I got to scroll back. Scroll back. I've never said I can predict the future. Fed, well, we are a long way from pivot, Coco. And if they're forced, what's so interesting? I haven't talked about this for a while. We talked about this, I guess, months ago. But if the Fed is forced to pivot and they go to dovish monetary policy and the market goes back into rip-your-face rally mode, I hate to see what's coming next. If we don't get this excess out of the system, it's going up. The next one is going to be horrible. Hey, P-Dub. Was there a non-original P-Dub? P-Dub? I just want to know. Because you say original P-Dub, but I want to know if there's a non-original P-Dub. And I know you won the back-to-back GDP, negative quarters. You want them all in. I love people all in. But you got so many bulls out there now. I'd rather have a bear market rally, like where there's a lot of bears and they're like, no! Instead of everybody's like, no brainer. Yeah, they'd at least pause. We're going to get pauses before pivots. Even if something breaks, I think they got to pause. Because if they were just a pivot, it would have to be really bad. Something major in the global financial market, if they went from hiking to cutting, I would not want to see what broke in the global financial market because it would be severe. And then their cuts might not generate a rally if something broke that bad. Hello, Ramsey Fall. What's the song of the day, Ramsey Fall? Yeah, it would be kiss the 2% inflation target by. And then what if the government sent out stimmy checks again? Oh, wouldn't that be great for inflation? Let's bail out everything. Let's just flood the economy with more money. And slowly, let's just destroy the lower class and middle class completely. Let's just let inflation rip their friggin' heads off. See, this is what I'm hearing. The bottom's in for the year. Bears will come back yet next year if necessary. This is the consensus when everybody's running to one side. Were people really worried about you, Waka Waka? Or you had a rally on Friday, they just wanted to rub your face in it? Mike is right. Friday's his family day and not available that time. It's usually 9:30 p.m. Well, again, if you were a super fan, you'd readjust your whole schedule, Waka. Again, you have a life outside of this channel? I don't know what's going on. All right. Tomorrow morning, not much. Tomorrow, morning. After the close, minor. You got Logitech. I mean, it's got tech in the name. So we got to pay attention to it. Discover, I'm looking to see anything with consumer credit, how that's faring, and a slight increase in delinquencies, and there any guidance on what they're seeing with consumer credit. That's what I'm watching for with Discover. Other than that, tomorrow is El Boring. Tuesday's interesting. Oops. Oopsie. UPS is going to be interesting with holiday guidance. So bear that in mind. I am really interested in what they're seeing. GM, I want to know where it sits with backlog of cars. The chip thing, if they talk about that, how soon they see everything getting back to normal with the cars, especially since the auto market should be, again, it traditionally slows down into a recession, but we do have still a catch up with, due to all the shortage of cars, how that's going to play out. Interesting if they touch on that. GE used to be significant years ago, not anymore, so that's a blah. 3M, will pay attention to that. Raytheon, to that, keep an eye on that. That's before on Tuesday after the close. Google and Microsoft, so Tuesday after the close, pretty big in terms of mega cap. That's going to be big. Also, Visa, more important than Discover on Monday afternoon, but I want to see the same things I just talked about with Discover. Chipotle, from an inflationary and dining out and employment perspective, they touch on any of that on their call. Spotify, that's about it. Wednesday, I know we got some Bowen traders in here. I'm not super hyped on that one, but we'll keep an eye on it. Waste management from a long-term portfolio view. Bristol Myers Squibb from healthcare. Kraft Heinz from passing stuff off on consumer from an inflationary and the core business, how that's what they expect with that. That will be interesting from that perspective. And it's not great right now, but I always do love Kraft Heinz for potential value plays at times. General Dynamics from the ever great War Machine. After the close, Meta. Let's see how the metaverse is going with or without legs. Teladoc, let's see how Kathy's faring. Ford, from the same thing with automobiles. Thursday, we got Shopify. McDonald's, again, same thoughts as I talked about. Oh, I missed Coca-Cola, by the way. That same thoughts as Kraft Heinz with Coke. And from a consumer standpoint with Chipotle and McDonald's, so that's thoughts pretty much the same on there. MasterCard, same as Visa and Discover. After the close, Thursday's a big day. Amazon and Apple, the two of the behemoths. So we'll have to see if there's any great patterns setting up going into this week with them. T-Mobile, we've already had AT&T and Verizon report. T-Mobile has been the stronger of the group. Friday, from all the energy players, Exxon and Chevron. Next Era Energy, very minor. Colgate Palmolive, same boat as Kraft Heinz from a consumer standpoint. And that's about it. All right. Let's see. All right, Waka giving his thoughts. Orfrat, one of my favorites. Okay. You got some time to hear this endless take on the markets. What do I have up here right now? We got volume. Why do I have volume up here? Remember how volume, now this is supportive of the bullish case. Why? Because they're starting to get a shift in volume. It's early. But I'll show you something else. Here was your June lows, and the volume stayed pretty muted. Stayed pretty muted, even though you got a decent rally. Remember we had the little move down, the little shakeout move. And we're starting to move out. We had the move down, little shakeouts, the move up. So we're starting to move up. Remember, the pattern doesn't have to be the same. But what I'm keying off of is we have a lot stronger volume coming in. At least starting to come in. I should say starting to come in. I'm not even talking about the key Thursday of the 13th. I'm talking with the 18th, Tuesday of the 18th and Friday volume. And you see, even on this last sell-off, volume on the bearish side was waning. You got definitely a volume shift starting to favor more of a bullish side. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. That's why that is up there. All right, we're done. So that's, keep an eye on that for everybody incorporating volume into their analysis. Now, this is not a double bottom. Why this spike low was too far down? Could this be an inverse head and shoulders? I'm going to get some of this crap off of there. Let me get the crap off. Come on. Yes. Shoulders aren't, this still does qualify. Not loving the symmetry of the shoulders, but we're going to map it out. We're going to map it out. By the way, don't put in the Formula One result.